Good morning, students.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
So, currently we are studying our fourth unit, which is based on inheritance and polymorphism. Yes, right. So here we have studied the concept of superclass and subclass, right? What we do in inheritance, we inherit the methods and data members of a parent class into the child class, right? That parent class is known as a superclass, child class is known as a subclass, right? Then we talked about different access specifiers. Okay, here they have just mentioned protected members, but we covered all the access specifier. So we have four categories of access specifier: public, private, protected, and default, right? Then there is a topic called relationship between superclasses and subclasses. Okay, so relationship between superclasses and subclasses. Let me see what is there in this topic. So they have designed this syllabus referring to this detail book. Okay, so let me just see what is there in that. Okay, relationship between superclasses and subclasses, creating, okay, methods and instance variable. Okay, same concept is there. They have explained through one example here. Okay, very big example they have considered, and they talked about the same example throughout this topic. Okay, so that we have studied. Then next concept is constructors in subclasses. Okay, so we have studied this topic in a last lecture. So what happens to constructor when we have the inheritance? So do you remember that example? So let me open that example. So we have seen the cascading effect. So when we evoke the constructor of the base class, sorry, the subclass, first it will evoke the constructor of its superclass. Okay, and if that superclass has again a superclass, then the constructor of that superclass will be evoked. Okay, and the last superclass that get evoked is the object class, right? We know that object class is a superclass of all, right? uh, First Java project. I think we have studied this example. Shape is getting extended with rectangle. Okay, and then square is extending rectangle. Okay, so when you create an object of square, okay, so the constructor of square will get evoked, right? This constructor in turn first will evoke its constructor of its parent. Okay, who is the parent of square? That is rectangle. तो इसका कंस्ट्रक्टर कॉल होगा. बिफोर एग्जीक्यूटिंग इट्स बॉडी, ये रेक्टेंगल का कंस्ट्रक्टर उसके पैरेंट के कंस्ट्रक्टर को इवोक करेगा, यानी कि शेप का कंस्ट्रक्टर. शेप का पैरेंट कौन है? ऑब्जेक्ट. ऑब्जेक्ट का कंस्ट्रक्टर इवोक होगा. ठीक है, एंड रिवर्स ऑर्डर में एग्जीक्यूशन कंप्लीट होते आएगा. ठीक है, सो ऑब्जेक्ट का कंस्ट्रक्टर कंप्लीट करेगा, देन शेप का, ओके, देन रेक्टेंगल का, देन स्क्वायर का. So we got the output as shape, rectangle, and square, right? So that was the example. Then last topic from this concept, inheritance part, is object class. Okay, so we have seen object class is a parent class of all the classes. Even if you don't specify anything, okay, we don't specify like this, extends object, right? Okay, we don't specify this, but implicitly, internally, all the classes will get inherited from the that object class. Okay, that's why we can execute these 11 methods coming from that object class. Okay, जैसे कि equals है, get class है, hash code है, notify all. Okay, so let's have a quick revision what we have studied up to this point, because those concepts will be required when we discuss the polymorphism concept. Okay, this is our second part in this unit. So we'll start from the beginning. So we started with inheritance concept. So with inheritance we achieve reusability. Okay, and what we do here, so we'll be having the existing class that we extend in the new class, right? So all the visible properties will get inherited in the new class. The class who is inheriting is known as subclass. Okay, that the class that inherits is known as subclass, and that existing class is known as a superclass. Okay, superclass is also known as base class, subclass is also known as derived class, right? These terminologies we have studied. You can create additional data members and method to add more features in a subclass. Okay, so it is extending. Okay, so you reuse all the existing methods and data members and you add more features. That is the concept, right? A superclass can also be a subclass of another class. Okay, so if you have a class A, okay, and B, class B is extending A. Okay, so this A will be a superclass and B will be a subclass. Okay, and this line is saying a superclass can also be a subclass of another class. ये superclass किसी और का subclass हो सकता है. Okay, it can be a subclass. So if A is extending, let's say X, okay, so X will act like a grandparent. Okay, it is a superclass with respect to A. Okay, so this is the meaning of this line. Okay, so you can have a hierarchy like this. Okay, so how to implement inheritance? So for that we have this extends keyword. Okay, so you write the normal definition of a class. Okay, and if you want to extend any other class, so you specify extends and the name of the superclass. Okay, that is the syntax of inheritance. Remember that. And the word is extends. Then we have studied different types of inheritance. Okay, so first one is the single. Okay, when you have a single subclass inheriting a single superclass, that is known as single inheritance. Then multi-level inheritance. Okay, so just now we have discussed this. When a superclass is itself a subclass of another class, then you, in that case, you have a multi-level inheritance. And then hierarchical. If multiple classes inherits the same class, then we have a hierarchical inheritance. And then we studied this inheritance in detail. Okay, and then there is a special type of inheritance called multiple inheritance. Okay, what happens in multiple inheritance? It is not allowed in Java, okay, because it may cause some confusion. Okay, if you go for method overriding. Okay, so consider this example: class A having go method, class A having a go method, and let's say B is extending A, C is also extending A. So up to this point it would be a hierarchical inheritance. Okay, now consider B has overwritten go method, C has overwritten go method. So this go versions will be different than the original, right? Now let's say D is also extending B and C. Okay, so this part is known as multiple inheritance. Okay, so when a class inherits two or more classes, that is known as multiple inheritance. Okay, multiple parent. Okay, so now there will be two versions of Go. Okay, and if you create an object of D, here they have created object of D, and if you say d.go, now which one to execute? Okay, B's version or C version? Okay, that creates a problem. Okay, and you can see a diamond like structure that is known as deadly diamond of death problem. D3 problem. Okay, so are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's why this is avoided in Java. Next, we studied a concept called access specifier. Okay, so it controls the access to our members. Okay, so we have studied public, private, protected, and default. Right? Public means those members will be visible anywhere. Okay, we have studied the concept called package. Okay, so we group related classes in a single package. Right? Okay, so consider this is our package 1, package 2. Okay, this block represent different classes. Okay, now public means if you have a member of this class, okay, declared as public, it will be visible to all the classes. Okay, even if they are coming from different package, there also they will be visible. Okay, then private member will be visible inside the same class only. They will be private to that class only. Okay, the keyword that we use is private keyword. Generally, we keep our data members as private and we keep our method as public. And then we have studied the concept called protected. Okay, so now if consider the same example, okay, now so we have a class. Okay, so we have a class and b is extending a. Okay, and this is our c class who is again extending a. Now b is coming from the same package, c is coming from different package. Okay, so if you have a protected member in a, it will be visible to all the subclasses of a. Okay, so it will be visible to b and c also. Okay, and protected will be visible to the package also. So if you have this d class, it will be visible to d also. Why it is visible to d? Because we have a package concept and we include all the related classes in one package, right? So d is also related to a, right? So it will be visible to d also. Okay, and if you don't specify anything, by default you get a default access specifier. Okay, it will be package level access specifier. Okay, and then we have tried to list all the possible cases. Okay, so if you have a member who is declared as private, whether it will be visible in same class. Okay, so this is how you have to interpret this table. If you have a private member, will it be visible in the same class? Yes. If you have a private member, will it be visible in subclass in same package? No, right? Private means only within a same class. Elsewhere, it will be no. Public, we know that it will be visible everywhere. Then protected means package plus subclasses, right? So अगर सेम पैकेज है, यहाँ पे सेम पैकेज है और सेम क्लास में तो होगा ही. So yes. Then subclass coming from other package, yes. Okay, or non subclass from other package, so no रहेगा. Default we know that it is a package level access specifier, so yes रहेगा और यहाँ पे no रहेगा. Okay, so that we have studied. Then we talked about modifiers. Okay, so modifiers controls the modification power, right? So in the last unit we talked about static variables, right? Static variable, they operate on a class level. Okay, so the object will not share the static variable. Okay, they don't have their own copy of static variable. Okay, so this is how we control the modification of static variable. Then final variables. Okay, so final means the value of that variable is final. Okay, so we use final keyword to define the constants. Okay, constant की value change नहीं होगी. We have studied the example of pi, right? Okay, then this will come in polymorphism. Okay, so final keyword can be applied before method, before variables, and before classes. Okay, so with respect to method, so when you have final method means what? Okay, it is a final version of that method. don't override it. Okay, so we are going to study method overriding today. Okay, so you use final keyword to prevent overriding. Okay, अगर आपको overriding prevent करना है, then you use final method. Then final variable used to define the constant, and then final classes. Okay, जैसे कि मैथ क्लास है, स्ट्रिंग क्लास है, ठीक है. अगर क्लासेस के अंदर मेथड्स रहेंगी, राइट, सभी मेथड्स अगर फाइनल है, ओके, देन यू कैन डिक्लेयर दैट क्लास एज फाइनल. ओके, डोंट सब क्लास इट. Okay, so that will prevent inheritance. Okay, when you have a final class, that will prevent a inheritance. Okay, then we have checked which modifiers and access specifier can be applied before class, before method, before instance variable, and before local variables, right? So local variables सिर्फ constant हो सकते हैं, बाकी कुछ applicable नहीं होता है, because उनका लाइफ स्पैन विद इन दैट मेथड ही रहता है, ठीक है. सो बाकी applicable नहीं है, सिर्फ फाइनल हो सकते हैं, दे कैन बी अ कांस्टेंट. इंस्टेंस वेरिएबल एब्स्ट्रैक्ट नहीं हो सकते, बाकी सब कुछ अप्लीकेबल है उनको, ठीक है. मेथड कैन हैव एनी एक्सेस स्पेसिफायर. ओके, देन प्राइवेट क्लास, प्रोटेक्टेड क्लास डजंट मीन एनीथिंग, सो दे आर नॉट अप्लीकेबल. एंड स्टैटिक क्लास का कंसेप्ट नहीं है, ठीक है. वी हैव अ स्टैटिक ब्लॉक, बट स्टैटिक क्लास का कंसेप्ट नहीं है. ओके, सो वी हैव समराइज दिस कंसेप्ट ऑल्सो. ऑब्जेक्ट क्लास हमने पढ़ा है. ओके, इट इज अ पैरेंट ऑफ ऑल, राइट. ऑल द क्लासेस will inherit directly or indirectly from the class object. Okay, then constructors in subclass. So it begins a chain of constructor calls, है ना. एग्जाम्पल देखा था हमने. So सबसे लास्ट में कौन सा कंस्ट्रक्टर कॉल होगा? ऑब्जेक्ट क्लास का कंस्ट्रक्टर कॉल होगा, और एग्जीक्यूशन रिवर्स ऑर्डर में होगा. दैट्स व्हाई द ओरिजिनल सब क्लास कंस्ट्रक्टर बॉडी फिनिशेस एग्जीक्यूटिंग लास्ट. ये पॉइंट ये है, ठीक है. कॉल सबसे लास्ट में जाएगा ऑब्जेक्ट के कंस्ट्रक्टर को, ओके, बट एग्जीक्यूशन कौन फिनिश करेगा लास्ट में? सब क्लास का कंस्ट्रक्टर जो ओरिजिनल सब क्लास है. Okay, now we'll talk about super keyword. Okay, so this is today's content. Okay, we'll see 3 uses of super keyword. Okay, we have studied one use. Okay, so have you taken the notes up to this point? आपने स्क्रीनशॉट ले लिए है क्या?
सर कल के नहीं लिए थे.
ओके, कल के नहीं लिए हैं, ठीक है. आई थिंक ये हमने ले लिया था. ये हो गया था क्या?
यस सर.
ओके, दिस वाज डन. पब्लिक कल के क्लास के रह गए थे, ठीक है. ये हो गया था.
यस सर.
प्राइवेट प्रोटेक्टेड हो गया होगा, डिफॉल्ट हो गया होगा, ये शायद हो गया था. मॉडिफायर्स यहाँ से आपको स्क्रीनशॉट लेने हैं.
यस सर.
ओके, टेक द स्क्रीनशॉट. यहाँ पे आपको डिफरेंस बिटवीन एक्सेस स्पेसिफायर और मॉडिफायर्स का पॉइंट मिल जाएगा. ओके, नेक्स्ट फाइनल कीवर्ड. टेक अ स्क्रीनशॉट. Okay, done. Next is this summary. Okay, next the object class. Okay, next constructors in subclasses. Here we have seen example also, so we'll take a screenshot of that example also. Constructor in subclasses. Okay. Next is, okay. So then example. This is the example of this constructor in subclasses. Just let me show you the output also. Then combinedly you can take a screenshot. I will reduce the font of the code. Where it is, appearance. Okay, and if we run this, okay, this is the output. Okay, now take a screenshot. Okay, see execution is in reverse order. Okay, सबसे जो ग्रैंड पेरेंट है उसका कंस्ट्रक्टर सबसे पहले ये होगा, एग्जीक्यूट होगा, देन सुपर क्लास, एंड देन दो जो ओरिजिनल सब क्लास है उसका कंस्ट्रक्टर. ठीक है, ये फाइंड द आउटपुट में इंपॉर्टेंट है ये कंसेप्ट. ठीक है, this is done. Now today's content. Okay, the first concept is super keyword. Okay, now there are three uses of super keyword. We'll see one by one. To call superclass constructor from the subclass constructor must be the first statement in the subclass constructor. This we have studied yesterday. Let me repeat that example. Okay, so now consider. Okay, so when you don't have this square class, okay, okay, we can keep that, no problem. Okay, rectangle shape में दो variables define करते हैं, L and B. Okay, and there is a constructor, parameterized constructor for initializing this L and B. Okay, so along with this message, we'll initialize this L and B. Okay, so this dot L equals to L, this dot B equals to B. Okay, then rectangle may suppose if we have diagonal 1 and diagonal 2. Okay, now if I want to initialize diagonal 1 and diagonal 2 also, then I need a constructor, parameterized constructor to initialize that. So source generate constructor using fields. Okay, so I got this parameterized constructor. Okay, so we'll not use this. Okay, this L and B are coming through inheritance. Okay, I will avoid this no argument constructor. Okay, now see, we have this parameterized constructor rectangle. Okay, and rectangle is inheriting shape class. Shape is having L and B. Now when you create a object of rectangle, rectangle equals to, okay, now we'll be passing some values 10 and 20. Okay, this 10 and 20 will get caught in diagonal 1 and diagonal 2. Those will be assigned to these two variables, right? Okay, now what about this L and B? Okay, this L and B will become a part of rectangle through inheritance, right? So we need to initialize them also. For that we have to write this super keyword. Okay, and you pass the value from here. Okay, so if you pass 20 and 30, okay, So those 20 and 30 will be assigned to this L and B. Okay, and this is how you can initialize L and B. Okay, you can receive the parameters here also. Okay, but I'm avoiding that. Okay, so this is the first use of super. Okay, to pass the value to the superclass constructor. Are you getting? I repeat, to pass the values to the superclass constructor. यस, ये सुपर क्लास है, ये सब क्लास है. सुपर क्लास के कंस्ट्रक्टर को वैल्यूज पास करने के लिए हम सुपर यूज कर सकते हैं. ओके, दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस पॉइंट. To call superclass constructor from the subclass constructor, and it must be the first statement in the subclass constructor. ये पहला लाइन होना चाहिए. If you put it after the first line, you will get error. ठीक है, क्योंकि हमने वो चेन देखा था, कंस्ट्रक्टर का चेन, राइट. रेक्टेंगल के पहले शेप का कंस्ट्रक्टर का इवोक होने वाला है. दैट्स व्हाई दिस मस्ट बी द फर्स्ट सेंटेंस. Okay, you first initialize the superclass members and then you talk about your members. Okay, then यहाँ से पास करेंगे, और अगर आपको शो करना है तो एक मेथड लिखते हैं void show, जहाँ पे हम ये वैल्यूज प्रिंट करेंगे. ठीक है, सो L space B diagonal 1 plus diagonal 2. Okay, and on this object, rectangles object, we can call that method show. Okay, and ओके, शेप का कंस्ट्रक्टर इवोक हुआ, उसमें हमने मैसेज प्रिंट किया था, एंड 20 30 10 एंड 20. ओके, so this is the first use, so you can take a screenshot of this. Okay, I will highlight this part. Okay, the main topic is here only, to pass the values to the superclass constructor. Okay, now what is the second use? To call superclass method from the subclass method in case of overriding. Okay, now we'll talk about method overriding. Okay, this is over, so let me add another project. Okay, so we have this test class. Let us define class A. Okay, and having a method called void show. Okay, and here I'm just printing class A show. Okay, now we'll define class B extends A. Okay, and void show. Now we know that when B is extending A, this show method, okay, which is having a default scope, will come to B through inheritance, right? Now this show is having the same return type, same name and same signature. Okay, signature यानी कि जो parameter list है वो भी same है. ठीक है, it is not having any parameter. Okay, so what is happening? So there will be two versions of show, right? So basically you are overriding this show method. Okay, so when you create an object of B and call show method, subclass का show call होगा. ठीक है, this phenomena is known as method overriding. Okay, so class B का show. Okay. Now when you create object of B, obj equals to new B and obj dot show. Okay, and when I run this, I should get class B show. Class B show. Okay. Now suppose from this show, if I want to evoke this, sorry, from this show, okay, subclass के show से suppose I want to make use of the parent show. Okay, then I can evoke that show method using a super call. Okay, super dot show. If I say like this, okay, this statement will evoke the show of its parent. Okay, now if I run this, ओके पहले क्लास ए का शो इवोक हुआ देन क्लास बी का शो ओके नाउ इज देयर एनी रिस्ट्रिक्शन दैट दिस लाइन शुड बी द फर्स्ट वन नो सिर्फ वो जो पहला यूज है उसी में वो कंपलसरी है ओके यू कैन हैव दिस सेंटेंस एनीवेयर इन द मेथड ओके जो चाइल्ड का मेथड है कहीं पे भी आप लिख सकते हो ठीक है इफ आई रन नाउ ओके पहले ये मैसेज प्रिंट होना चाहिए एंड देन ये कॉल है तो क्लास ए शो होना चाहिए ठीक है सो आउटपुट देखिए क्लास बी का शो क्लास ए का शो okay this is the second use of super okay so if method overriding is there and still okay ये method overriding का है concept right and still you want to make use of the parents version of that same method ठीक है you want to evoke that method also so use super keyword and say super dot the name of the method okay so that is the second use to call superclass method from the subclass method in case of a overriding have you got this okay so this is the second use okay let me put the comment also here second use of super keyword okay now you can take a screenshot okay this is the output of this program okay done the next third use is to access the instance variable in superclass in the method of subclass if variable names are same okay so what may happen so if you have class a and x and y are there okay मैंने प्राइवेट डिक्लेयर नहीं किए डिफॉल्ट है तो ये इनहेरिट हो जाएंगे और हियर if you have the same variables okay now if I want to print okay so I'm printing x and y okay so they should be initialized why oh why the error was here ये क्या error है okay so let's define 100 and 200 Okay, now when I'm calling this show now, okay, so I will be getting 100 and 200. Suppose I want to make use of this x and y, okay, then we can use super x, super dot x, super dot y. Okay, now super dot x will refer to the super class x, okay, super class y. Okay, so if we run this, we obtain 100 and 200. Okay, and if we say super dot x and super dot y, okay, now this variable is referring to this x, super class ka x, super class ka y. Okay, I should get 10 and 20 now, 10 and 20. Okay, so this is the use of this super, third use of super. Okay, so I am keeping x as the normal variable and y as super. Okay, so you can get the difference, and this will be our third use of super keyword. Okay, so let me run this. Okay, so x equals to 100, y equals to 20. Now you can take a screenshot. Done. Okay, so these are the three uses of super keyword in order to evoke, to pass the value to the superclass constructor. Then second one is if you want to evoke the superclass method in case of a overriding, then you can use super dot method name. And if the name conflicts are there, okay, both the subclasses and superclasses are having the same instance variable, then in order to distinguish them you can use super keyword. Okay, these are the three uses of super keyword. We have studied this parameterized constructor in inheritance. Okay, parameterized constructor. Okay, so when you have the parameterized constructor in superclass and parameterized constructor in the subclass, okay, so it will be a responsibility of the subclass constructor to provide the values to the superclass constructor. Okay, for that we use the super keyword and we will pass the parameter list, right? This was the first use of super keyword, right? Okay, so take the screenshot. Next, this one. Okay, now we have studied this concept method overriding. Okay, so let us see its theory part. Okay, what happens in method overriding? Okay, so there will be same method in superclass and subclass. Okay, and by same what we mean, their name would be same, the return type would be same, and their parameter list would be same. Okay, everything, the signature would be same. Okay, then you can say that the subclass is overridden the superclass method. Okay, so in class hierarchy, when a method in subclass has same name and type signature, signature में सब कुछ आ जाता है, parameter आ जाता है, return type भी आ जाता है, as a method in its superclass, then a method in subclass is said to override the method in superclass. Okay, so subclass has written its own version of that method. Okay, so that is the meaning of overriding. When an overridden method is called from within the subclass, it will always refer to the version of that method defined in the subclass. ठीक है, अगर सबक्लास अगर इवोक कर रहा है तो वो सबक्लास का ही वर्जन इवोक होगा. The version of the method defined by the superclass will be hidden. ठीक है, methods with different type signature are overloaded, not overridden. ठीक है, so this I will clarify. अगर signature different है, so it is not the overriding, ये overloading हो जाएगा. ठीक है, so we'll see this concept. So now, is it overloading or overriding? Anyone? ये ओवरलोडिंग हो रहा है, ओवरराइडिंग हो रहा है?
Overriding.
Overriding.
ओवरराइडिंग हो रहा है, राइट? ओके, सो okay, so now see, class A having show method, class B is extending A and having a show method, signature, name, everything is everything is same, so it is method overriding. Now in main method I have created obj1 object of class A calling show method, so this should evoke this method. Okay, A का show call होना चाहिए, so we should get class A show. Then I am creating obj2 object of B class and calling show. Okay, B में ये show inherit हुआ था, but B has implemented his own version of show, override कर दिया है. I should get this. Okay, so output आना चाहिए. By this we should get class A show. By this we should get class B show. Okay. Yes. Now this is overriding. Now if we have, let's say, int A, int B, okay, show is there. Now if I am printing sum equals to and A plus B, okay, now is it a overriding? Is it a overriding now?
No, sir.
ये शो ओवरराइड नहीं हुआ है, ओवरलोड है. ओवरलोड का कंसेप्ट हमने पढ़ा था व्हेन वी हैव the methods with same name but different parameter list, right? So now in B, overloading is happening or not? In class B, okay, we have only show method. Okay, overloading हो रहा है या नहीं? I repeat my question. In class B, I am having a single show method having two parameters. Okay, so single method रहता है तो overloading होता है या नहीं?
हाँ सर, सेम मेथड है तो ओवरलोड हो रहा.
हाँ, कैसे हो रहा है? एक ही तो मेथड है यहाँ पे.
सर वो एक्सटेंड कर रहा है ना, इनहेरिटेंस है तो वो भी आएगा.
हाँ, यस. सो देखिए, क्लास ए में शो मेथड है थ्रू इनहेरिटेंस. ओके, वर्चुअली दिस शो विल कम इन क्लास बी, राइट? सो वर्चुअली इट इज लाइक दिस. ओके, सो शो यहाँ पे भी प्रेजेंट है विथ वन पैरामीटर. ठीक है, so now you have two method with same name but different parameter, and that concept is known as method overloading, right? Overloading. Okay, so the meaning of this line is methods with different type signatures are overloaded, not overridden. Okay, even if you have the inheritance, okay, but अगर signature different है, that means वो overloaded नहीं है, overrided नहीं है, overloaded method से. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे suppose ये बी का ऑब्जेक्ट है, यहाँ पे शो कॉल करेंगे तो कौन सा शो कॉल होगा? फर्स्ट वन, सेकेंड वन?
पहला.
फर्स्ट वन, राइट? नो पैरामीटर. एंड इफ यू कॉल obj2 डॉट शो एंड 10, 20, ओके, सो इन दोनों का सम प्रिंट होना चाहिए 30. ओके, सो यहाँ पे एग्जाम ये लिखता हूं, example of overloaded method. Okay, so you can take a screenshot of this program. First, 1 minute. Okay, please take a screenshot of this. Method overriding. Okay, we have studied the example of overloaded methods and overrided methods. Okay, and this method overloading is used to achieve runtime polymorphism. Okay, at runtime, which version to be called is decided. Okay, we'll study this concept. What is runtime polymorphism? What is compile time polymorphism? When we discuss dynamic method dispatching concept. Okay, take a screenshot of this. Then take a screenshot of this program. This is the example of overloaded method. I will modify this example to show you the example of overrided method. ये ले लीजिए आप output screenshot. Done. Okay. Then example of overrided method. तो signature भी same होनी चाहिए. Sorry, कुछ mistake था. 1 minute. Overloaded int a comma int b. एक बार फिर से लीजिए स्क्रीनशॉट. ये लाइन ये कमेंट लाइन के पीछे चली गई थी. ओके, डन. ये एग्जांपल है ओवरलोडेड मेथड का. ओवरराइडेड class b show signature would be same, and if we run this, okay, you get the output for this method. Okay, subclass के version call होगा. Take a screenshot now. Example of overrided method. Keep on completing your nodes. Okay, done. Then next is, okay, so we'll stop here, but one announcement. Yes, so we'll be having our second CA activity on Saturday. It would be an online test. Okay, it can be a MCQ based test or fill in the blank, match the pair kind of test. Okay, there will be no program. The syllabus is unit number 1 and unit number 4. Okay, we have, I think, tomorrow lecture tomorrow, right? So जो भी before Saturday जितना भी cover हो जाएगा unit 4 उतना रहेगा syllabus. ठीक है? So on Saturday we have this test. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, so we'll stop here.
सर सैटरडे को कब रहेगी टेस्ट?
अपना जब क्लास है तब, ड्यूरिंग क्लास होगा.
सर डिले दिया तो चलता है टेस्ट?
Why? Do you have any?
यस सर, शादी है दीदी की, बड़े पापा के, मतलब दीदी बड़े दीदी की शादी है.
ठीक है, आप you convey me on that day. Okay, I will
हाँ
reopen the test later in the evening.
ओके सर, ओके इवनिंग में दे दूंगा.
Okay. Okay, so Mark your attendance and you may leave.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.